What is up, everybody? I know it's been really just a week, honestly. I took a week off from the Chrizalid Chronicles. If the audio sounds a little bit different, that is because the Chrizalid Chronicles, I've been having a lot of firsts on here. You know what I'm saying? Had my first guest not too long ago. Shout out to REVOLT. But also, I'm on the road. Not really like on the road right now. I'm just like not recording from my place. Instead, I'm recording from the place of pretty much my third guest technically, even though episode 0, is episode 0. I have here with me on this edition of the Chrizalid Chronicles, somebody that y'all have heard from if you've been following me for a while, whether you followed me, of course, with the iceberg, with the SNK iceberg, which, for y'all, don't worry, still doing it. You're still doing it. But for those of you that have been following me even more, even longer than that, may remember, and he's going to pop at this, from the Omen of Sorrow trials.
Oh, boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the channel, Cheshire Cat Smiles.
Thank you, Mr. Lotus. Mr. Lotus. It's good to be back.
So, of course, again, I want to thank you all, of course, for 3,000 subscribers. And I only put that there because there's obviously new faces here. So some of these people may not have known, they might have not been with us through the SNK Iceberg or even the Omen of Sorrow tutorial. So for all those people out there that might not know, just reintroduce yourself.
I go by Cheshire Cat on online. I'm an artist by nature. I'm also a fighting gamer because I used to play with Lotus back in the day. Your Street Fighters, Mortal Kombat, things of that nature.
You still do. It's just...
the newer ones, the 1s and the 8s.
Right.
And the wolves,
Because I've heard, of course, another good friend of the channel, Onyxe Blade. Shoutouts as always, just for being awesome all around. If it's not Onyx, if it's not Tsuki, if it's not Damien, I'm getting, and shoutouts to all of them as well, I'm getting Tekken 8 or Tekken information from Smiles here. This is where I'm mostly getting it from.
Damn right.
Because I just recently got Tekken 8. It was actually back during Evo week when I got it because there was a nice little sale on it. But yeah, I've been getting a lot of information about Tekken 8 from Smiles, of course. I've been playing a couple rounds with him and some of his friends. So yeah, that's where I've been getting it from. Now, today, as I'm sure you know, those you listening, which by the way, I actually think I missed it. I don't think I said the date this time, I think. At the time of us recording this, it is August 25th, 2024. And I'm pretty sure you don't need me to say it, but of course, one big thing today, and probably the biggest thing of the day, the 30th anniversary of King of Fighters. 30 years of King of Fighters. 30.
Woo!
And I know when it comes to the fighting games, I think you, Smiles, are a little bit newer to KOF because what was your first KOF?
14.
Okay, so it's 14. And I know you played 15, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And
then I went back and played 13.
Oh, he did play 13, right? Oh, wait a minute.
And
I forgot.
So it was 14.
I forgot.
And before 15 came out, went back and played 13. And also, what was it that came out? 2002 UM.
Yeah, that right there.
That came out. Then fell in love with one character, even though he's not on my team at all. Because just like the rest of the world, I was very confused about Ash Crimson. But I was like, he's going on the team. And for those you don't know, he is a he. But yeah, Ash Crimson, Dolores.
Your favorite characters? Some of your favorite characters?
Well, my favorite character is Benny Morrow.
Well, no, of course.
Really? It's a toss up because, as you know,
explain why the Benny Maru. You mentioned him
Lotus here knows whether it's video games, anime, comic books, whatever the medium may be, any character that has lightning or electrical based powers, I love, with the exception of Raiden. I don't know why I've never
Mortal Kombat
liked Raiden. Yeah, I don't know why I've never liked Raiden, but that's neither here nor there.
What about the current Raiden?
He's okay, but even in that game, I play Rain. But and he can conjure storms and shit still. So
yeah,
but I like characters like Luck from Black Clover, Storm, Electro, Static Shock, and as far as like fighting games go, specifically King of Fighters, Benny Maru, and my favorite, the top of the pecking order, Sylvie Paula.
Oh yes, oh yeah, of course. I forgot
the Pikachu herself.
This was same guy when they revealed Sylvie for the first time for King of Fighters 15. Remember, this is who I called in the middle of me reacting to that trailer. I literally called you on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
He might be busy with schoolwork because he just started school recently.
Yep.
Hey, I got some good news for you, bro.
What at?
Your girl's back.
My girl's back.
Sylvie Paula is coming to KOF 15.
No shit.
It's real. It's real.
Shit.
Shingo's trailer just dropped, and we showed his gameplay. Kim has a model now, and then I'm still not done with it yet. I wonder if there's gonna be any more reveals, but they just revealed Sylvie, and boy, oh boy, oh boy, like you got to see it. It looks crazy.
I'll have to check. I have to check it out when I park somewhere. Like no.
I'm sure.
Does she have a new design?
It looks new. It looks new. For the record, I'm recording. I'm not streaming, but I'm recording.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're gonna make a cameo in this one. You're gonna make a cameo.
Oh my goodness. So, does she still have the fucking the bug eyes?
Yeah,
or is it?
Yeah, from what I'm looking at with this I guess like a 2D render or like a SketchUp or whatever, she has like a headband. And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eyeballs resting on it. She has like some bat wings that have like these diamond designs in there. Her hair is blonde, but like it's kind of greenish at the tips. Looks very gothic.
Okay. Oh wow.
Because I know like far as people I personally know, the #1 Sylvie fan.
Right, because I was on the road when you called me shooting out.
You mentioned that. You mentioned that because you said I almost made you crack the car. But also, like with the Benny Maru thing, also another thing about Smiles here. I also get a whole bunch of the JoJo's information, like probably like the biggest JoJo's enthusiast that I know personally.
Oh yeah,
and of course, Benny Maru takes a couple things from old Jean-Pierre, right?
Polnareff, yes.
Right.
Which, because his old design was literally the exact same as Polnareff. Black leotard, white pants, and a tall, 1.5 foot tall, like, flat top with blonde hair instead of white hair like Polnareff.
Right. Because I'd always asked him, because, like, I surprise, I got into JoJo's through the fighting games. You know what I'm saying? And I would constantly, like, because I didn't really know that much about Jean-Pierre at the time. I just know, of course, when I saw the character. So I would constantly ask him, like, okay, does even he have, like, the electrical thing going on? But apparently that wasn't the case.
His thing is speed.
Yeah,
Polnareff's thing is, like, being incredibly fast with his stand.
Which is kind of interesting because, Benny Maru, not exactly, like, super, like, he doesn't have, like, a super speed, powers, but he is a pretty quick, like, very fast character.
Which King of Fighters did he have like the whole? I remember one of the games he had like that leopard print thing going on.
Dang it, I'm trying to blank.
It wasn't 13, but it was. I think.
Speaking of 13, so the reason why I was laughing, because when I got him into King of Fighters 13, because I always told him it's like that right there, 2002, 98. Those are like usually in the conversation when talking about the best KOFs. But I always told them like how much people love them some 13, love them some 13. And you picked it up, and how did that?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I know people, talk about how hard the combo trials are, but I am a Souls fan. I enjoy the challenge. I relish the difficulty because I know a lot of people, they'll post the YouTube videos of them doing the trials, and like the thumbnail for the video will be like SpongeBob with his fingers broken. But I enjoy those trials because I think I completed only Benny Mario's. I think I did his and his wrong.
Oh, you completed them.
But
because who rage quit the trials? I remember somebody had rage quit the trials.
Somebody that we know, or are you talking about a YouTuber?
Somebody that, because I remember like the reason why I laughed about it was because when you had like got into I was jumping back to your original question, but he had leopard print in 2003 and also in 11 as well.
Okay.
Because I didn't want to get it wrong then, because I wanted to say 11.
Actually,
because I have a bit of 11's my favorite KOF, and I didn't want to like jump the gun on that one. But I thought that you had somebody else try the trials and like they just
did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
You know who it was?
Who was it?
You just take a wild guess.
Was it Pink?
I'll give you a hint.
Was it Pink?
Yes.
I'm gonna leave.
Shout outs to.
I'm gonna leave you to introduce them to Pink.
I have a friend that I knew from when I was in the military, and I was active duty Army for a while. And I have a friend named Pink, and that is not his last name, people. That is his first name, his God-given first name. His name is Pink Brown Jr., otherwise known as PBJ, Peanut Butter and Jelly. So he is a very comical rager. Not the typical rager that's very toxic. He is a good sport, but he also does get mad when he loses.
Also credit to him, like, unlike most of ragers that you know about, like, because when people think about ragers, they think about people that rage because they can't play.
Right.
Pink can play. You know what I'm saying? I've played, like, some sessions, like, with, because as a matter of fact, I think that's when I started with Tekken 7.
Right.
I started off with Tekken 7 by watching him and Pink play.
Funny thing, right? So, because when I was in El Paso, everybody played Smash. Because it's like you go out to the field a lot.
I was going to get to that.
You can't bring anything with you, so people will bring their Switch. They play Smash. So I was, at least in my particular unit, I was like the guy to get those people into other fighting games, and I got Pink into Tekken, and he was always really good at just like finding gaps.
Yeah.
But now here's the thing. So I have groomed him and raised him from, a small Don Ryu or whatever the little low ranks is in Tekken. Because in Tekken 8, his king, he gives me a run for my money. Because, like, he is of the philosophy where he doesn't like to do combos, right?
Right.
Because it's like, in his opinion, it feels formulaic and, I just want to be in the moment.
Right.
But his fundamentals, at least as far as Tekken 8 is concerned with King, he's immaculate with his fundamentals.
Yeah, now, I was gonna say that,
he still has like some things to improve on, but his fundamentals have like vastly improved.
I've seen the growth, man. I've seen the growth. I just wanted to put that there because when everybody talks about ragers, they just think of like the people that rage because they can't play, and it's like, especially those who like put on the spectacle, it's like that's just a gimmick. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like he can play.
But anybody that wants the smoke, because Pink is a self-proclaimed smoke demon. Whether he wins or loses, he likes to fight. Oh no, he's gonna thank me.
That man, he's gonna be like, why am I getting all these challenges?
If you like playing Under Night In-Birth or Tekken 8, look up El Rosso Lobo on PlayStation.
Oh my god,
he will gladly fight you.
That man is gonna.
He will gladly fight you.
He will come at me.
But Yeah,
Since I'm the one broadcasting.
But no, he would enjoy that because even in Elden Ring, because like the Souls games, they have PvP in them. Okay. And that's what me and Pink like relish in. It's like the PvP in that game. Mm-hmm. And same thing over there. Because in certain games, like where I kind of excel over him a little bit in fighting games, but like Souls, PvP, and survival games, he trumps me in all of that. Mm. Okay. Because for some reason, he's like exceptionally good at survival games.
Yeah, everybody got their little niche.
Everybody got their niche.
But yeah, so I love how that just went. We went from so many different points right there. So many. But yeah, because I know somebody's like, how we go from freaking KOF 30th anniversary to like, that's just why I like having guests, man. I love like just having, certain types of stuff bounce off and all that. But yeah, so, and now I remember how we got to Pink. Because you said it was him that rage quit on the freaking KOF 13 trials.
Because I was still in El Paso when I got KOF 13. Right. And I had him come over to my Barry's room and he tried the trials. He was like, no.
Whose trials was he doing?
I think he was a fan of in 13. I want to say he was trying to play. Who else was in 13? Wasn't Ralph in 13?
Yes, he was.
I think he was trying to do Ralph. I'm not sure. I have to ask him. But I think he was trying to do Ralph. So he was like, no.
I don't know. But I don't think he should have tried Ralph.
Because I know current KOF, for the little bit that he did play.
Oh, yeah.
He really, I think his favorite character is Yashiro. Actually, pretty much 2/3 of Team Orochi because he likes Yashiro, he likes Shermie, and I want to say he likes K-Dash. I want to say I'll have to ask him. That sounds about right. I think he likes K-Dash as well.
That sounds about right. Yeah, because I remember like he did. I remember when he tried to play against me that one time because I was gonna do like a freaking wake up level 3 on him with not me, Chris, like Chris from that freaking Orochi team. And I remember he was like, no! And he was able to block.
Oh man. See, Pink's raging is hilarious. Like, because he'll rage and then immediately just run it back.
Oh my God. But on top of that, it's like Larry knows my favorite because, again, I first like met Pink through him, and this was when Tekken 7 was out.
Right.
So I wouldn't win that many matches, honestly, in Tekken 7 because I was still getting used to the game. I say that because I was usually left spectating most of the matches. And it was after spectating like maybe 5 matches when I first started doing it, I had realized that, okay, there's a couple of seconds of delay on this mess. Because every single time this man would lose a round.
Look, we gonna edit it out in post because YouTube regulations and whatnot. We're gonna edit it out in post.
What are you talking about?
But so
edit out what? What he says when he freaking goes around? So we good on that.
Okay. So in at least Tekken 7, there was about 5 seconds ish worth of delay between like the spectator, like so whatever was happening in the match, the spectator wouldn't see until about 5 seconds later.
Yes.
So if I was playing Pink and the match looks like it's going good, we about even, out of nowhere, Lotus here, he would hear my buddy Pink say, "Fuck." And then it's like, okay, he lost. And then 5 seconds later, the game catches up.
That's what I mean. I pictured that because you're watching the match and like, okay, do a little something or whatever. And then like I hear somebody just yell like they lost. And it's like, wait a minute. Like I said, when I first was watching those matches, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's still going. Like, you didn't lose. But then after like the 5th time, I'm like, okay.
And for frame of reference,
there's some delay on this mess. So every time he freaking would say that mess, if he would, he lost a round.
So for frame of reference, from Pink's perspective. Hey, if he was a business, we giving him free publicity.
I get a whole lot of it.
But from his perspective, I play very annoying characters.
Oh yeah,
right. For those of you that don't know, in Tekken 7 and 8 and Tag 2, I play ZAFINA. So
cool character.
ZAFINA is a very cool character, very snaky movements. And she has attacks from deceptive positions. Like the layman's terms version of this would be she could kick you in the face while she's in push-up position. Is the type of contortionist like moves that she has. So if you don't know or you haven't fought as ZAFINA, it's hard to tell what she's going to do or where the moves are going to hit because she's in like very unorthodox positions. So he hates her. He calls her a cockroach bitch pretty frequently. Which I both love and hate that. I love it because it's like, okay, a lot of people don't play this character because they don't know the character or whatever, and that gives me an edge because they don't know how to deal with the character. But at the same time, it's like nobody's like playing this character for whatever reason because they think she's bad or whatever the case is, just because she's like an unorthodox character, which is one thing I can appreciate about the Smash thing because like with Melee, no updates, no nothing like that. Tier list will change just off of what some pro player figures out.
Yeah, because I mean, we had that happen at Evo with freaking Third Strike. Like you had Hayao like make usage out of it was one of them at the time. At Evo it was one. I think Hayao popped up at another tournament and he did it again but with a different normal. Because in Third Strike, Hugo's known to have two useless normals basically. At Evo, Hayao did it with his I think it was either jump roundhouse or stand roundhouse. Right. But it was a drop kick. And like he used the drop kick to clear the super and was able to counter afterward.
Right.
So it's like you have stuff like that. You see, even like at Evo, like Justin Wong and them, like they pop for that because it's like, again, this game has no freaking updates. It's pretty freaking like, I don't like saying old, like, because people look at old like a bad thing, but you get what I mean. It's an old game, but like it's an old classic that people grew to love.
Right.
I have to emphasize grew because everybody acts like, oh, Third Strike has been always. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. Third Strike has not always been freaking praised like that.
Right.
That mess was one of those games. Came out in the beginning. People were kind of meh about it because they didn't have a whole bunch of Street Fighter 2 characters up in it.
It's the video game equivalent to a cult classic movie. Didn't do well on launch, but as time went on, people grew to love it.
Yeah, but that's the same thing happened there. It's like even with these games that don't have updates, you still learn some new stuff and see people putting stuff to use. Where it's like, this mess is useless. That special is useless. Oh, that special is garbage. Oh, that is garbage.
And if there's anything I can tell the fans, because another thing about myself. Is that, and Lotus knows this, I am what you would call a character loyalist. Not in a negative aspect, but I don't care how bad a character is going against a tier list. If I like a character, then I will play that character through and through and figure something out. Because I want to say it was...
Play what you love.
What was a game that we was playing back in the day where there was a quote-unquote low-tier character that I just hardline mained. And people were like, why are you so good with this character?
I'm trying to think about a fighting game then because if you take, I have a character in mind for another game. It's a different game though I'm thinking of. Because I was going to say freaking Hera and freaking Smite. That's what I was going to say.
If you take Blaze Blue, for instance, I mean...
Oh,
So Talkaka is a very... springy, quick, like all over the screen type of character, and she's very unorthodox. Because for me, what attracts me to a character in a fighting game is 90% of what attracts me to a character in a fighting game is aesthetics.
I mean, that's what it's for a lot of people. Like y'all know it. Come on now.
I've never been a fan of the mentality of this character's like low tier right now. Let me find a new main. Like, I will stick with that character because I like that character. Because with Taukaka and Blaze Blue, our friend Jabril the Sultan, he would be pretty annoyed because Jabril is where I would call a savant when it comes to fighting games. And my measurements
are getting put over in this one, and I love it. So many of our peers. Shout outs to Pig. Shout outs to Mr. Bid, aka the Sultan Jabril. Like, I'm just
right.
I'm just
so, my measurement of success back then was if I could at least annoy him.
Yeah.
With my characters, and I'm in the right direction, right? Because he made Hibiki in Blaze Blue.
Yeah.
And his most hated thing about Takaka, the most hated thing, her forward light, the little castle swipe move where she like swipes up in the air.
Right.
You can't block it in the air. It counts as it's a weird, like, it's a low in the air for an airborne opponent type situation. So he hated that move because he did a lot of like jump cancels and jump dashing in, and I would just catch him with the little paw swipes. You had that. I played Ermac in MKX. Funny enough, I didn't play the meta variation of him because I think I played Master of Souls. And I think the
Master of Souls for a little bit, I remember, was kind of like, for some reason, there was some little gimmick with it that I think it had something to do with him getting more meter or something like that.
I believe so.
I know, it was one of those things where it's like it kind of flew under the radar, and people were saying like, this needs to be patched out because it's just too much.
MKX or MK11, I mean, and
Cetrion.
Yes, Cetrion. So before the game came out, trailer for Cetrion came out. That's my main. I knew off rip, mostly because she had a similar game plan as Poison Ivy in Injustice 2.
You had said Poison Ivy and somebody, I forgot what character, like Poison Ivy and some character had a baby and it was Cetrion. Freaking Poison Ivy giving birth to Elder God.
It was Poison Ivy and freaking Tremor.
Okay.
If I was to, because she has like the little rock bashing moves and stuff like that. Another bit of advice, people. Don't get mad at a character for doing what the character does. I remember telling you about this. I was fighting a Jax with Cetrion in MK11. And the Jax got on the mic talking smack. And it's like, you won't come fight me up close like a man. And it's like, I'm a zoner, sir.
What in the world?
And you're Jax. I'm not finna get in arm's reach of you.
What in the world is up with that? What in the world is up with? Like, I don't get that.
Mean,
like,
fist fight, sure.
And Cetrion didn't have...
And she was actually really decent up close.
Yeah, like,
but she had really good zoning.
Like I said, she didn't have terrible buttons up close, but it's like... what? It's
especially in Jax. I'm not gonna get an arm's length of a Jax so it can...
Like, that's almost like if you were
throw me around.
That's almost like, take like the freaking archetype, like the typical freaking grappler or whatever, then you playing Geef or something, and yeah, you playing against a Doll Sim, and Doll Sim is doing Doll Sim stuff. You ain't gonna come fight me like a man. You're Geef. Wait, especially
if I get close to you, I'm dead in 3 grams.
Doll Sim is probably less than that.
Right.
Because he... like, I don't get that. But... it's kind of funny because, like, for at least my experience, those are the people that would get on the mic and talk to mess when they're down and beat Mortal Kombat players. Because I never experienced that mess in, like, any other game. Man. One guy on Mortal Kombat, like, I remember this because it was my first freaking... It was
how many fighting games actually have comms, like, in the match? Because I've never really experienced that in any other game but Mortal Kombat.
There were some others, I would imagine.
Because I've never had anybody like smack on the mic outside of Mortal Kombat.
Oh no, because like I know at times I might be thinking it wrong, but I imagine there have been some others because I was used to that mess back in the freaking Xbox 360 days. But
oh man, ooh,
Marvel, that mess was kind of funny to be honest. Because I know, like, with Marvel, like, I know I've queued up with people where it's like they don't freaking... I don't know if it's the microphone or the headset or whatever, or it's just the fact that they didn't cut something off in the background or whatever, but you freaking queue up with them and you just hear like the TV or some music in the background.
Right. if you play Marvel, make sure gentlemen specifically, make sure you have a curly mustache.
I know Street Fighter 4 had it too.
Make sure you have a curly mustache, gentlemen. If you play Marvel, make sure you have a curly mustache.
They know that. They know that. I was about to make a joke, but I'm not going to make that. But they know. They know. They know.
Because wait, DNF.
But what you call what you call Street Fighter 4? I know had it because you go into the lobbies, like there was like this little. It was meant to be like the little sound, like the little logo or whatever. And I know it would flash green, like when someone was talking or whatever. I remember that much.
Actually, that's fair. That might just be an anecdote for me because I didn't start playing games. I didn't start playing fighting games online until MKX when I started like actually trying to be competitive.
God bless you.
Because other than that, I would just play like Street Fighter 4, Persona, stuff like that. I would play that with friends.
That mess with Xbox was freaking. That mess was salacious. I'll never forget because aside from when I got MVC 3, when I first got the freaking 360 or whatever, my friends around that time in college had got me into Halo. I think it was Reach at the time. So I got Halo Reach. And I'll never, like, that was just weird because as a matter of fact, that was my first time playing. That was my first time playing games online, I think. With stuff like that.
Yeah, that was. Halo Reach was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was on the 360.
Yeah, it was 2010.
Yeah, it was on the 360.
Well,
because I also know I played some TVC online as well, like even though it wasn't like the best because it was Nintendo, but it's like that mess was just weird to me because I underestimated how like those freaking lobbies with the shooters can get at times.
Right.
Because I'm there was this one guy. There was this one.
Call of Duty is.
Obviously, because. Whenever people talk mess about, this and that, the third, it's always, you ain't never been to freaking Call of Duty. You ain't never been to Call of Duty.
You know what it's simultaneously annoying and the greatest thing ever?
Whatever.
Proximity chat. If your character is near another character, then they can hear your mic or whatnot.
I get why you said that.
And one part of me is glad it's not in Souls games, but I kind of wish it was in Souls games like Dark Souls and Elden Ring.
That's outside of
where you could like talk your smack after you get somebody, but that's not here nor there.
When he mentions like the Soul stuff, y'all know me. Just in case you don't know, that's outside of my reach. Where I only play those there.
Right. But yeah, like
I'll never forget. Like the first time I experienced like somebody on some freaking crazy shit or whatever in these freaking shooter lobbies, and like I think it was like I said, Halo Reach, and I was dodging this one guy who couldn't freaking hit me, and he was making the DSP excuse saying that I was lagging, and I'll never forget. It kept going. It was a crescendo. Because I remember, like, at that time, I think, like, my tag on there was Blue Lotus at the time, I think, or something like that. Because he called me out by name. He's like, because he was making something, man, your freaking internet sucks, man. It's like I kept dodging. He kept shooting, dodging. Then it went from, and then he freaking dodging again. It was like, oh, you fucking coward!
No. Do you remember? Lotus, do you remember? This was back when Paragon existed. This was my greatest.
I know about Paragon. I just never played it.
My greatest is for the people that don't know, is a MOBA similar to League of Legends or Smite. But my greatest, my magnum opus of hate mail that I received was from that game. And for those of you that do know, it is a game where teamwork is tantamount to victory.
Right.
And one player, I was playing basically the equivalent of a ranged character that is supposed to provide the damage, and I was alongside a tank. That's usually how those games go. You have a tank character in one lane, and then with that tank, you have a DPS type character.
What was the hate mail?
Oh man, he broke my perception.
He wrote you a letter. He wrote you like a freaking novel. What?
It was a novel. So he broke my perceptions because he did something I didn't know was possible at that time. He left me a voice message on the PlayStation 3. So, mind you, like I said, the whole point is teamwork. And he says, you know, the only time you attack me is with a teammate. What are you, a freaking coward? And he, you know, used the F slur and all that stuff.
So you got 2 helpings of people that were basically on your case about you playing mess the way it's supposed to be played.
Exactly.
2 different helpings. 2 different helpings of that mess. Y'all need to stop.
Please.
But I just love how. This is the magic of King of Fighters 13. Then all I did was mention that mess, and we went over here into this avenue.
Whole
tangents. So many.
We pulled a black dynamite chalkboard.
Yeah, which is going to be funny because that's exactly what I'm going to possibly running into when I do the next part of this prediction series. Once we include all the information that SNK put on us when it comes to City of the Wolves. But it was so interesting that you mentioned Smash, because the man of the hour was also in that freaking game. Old Mr. Bogard, who recently got revealed in freaking Street Fighter 6. And one thing I forgot to say when I did my video reacting to the trailer, that right there was practically a love letter to Takashi Nishiyama, who, in case y'all don't know, created both Street Fighter and Fatal Fury. And it's like that mess was like a love letter with reference after reference, and then the stuff like pulling all these different freaking moves from different games as Terry's been in, from like freaking like a freaking dominated mind.
Do you know what killed me about Terry and Smash?
What?
So, like I said, played a lot of Smash while I was in the military.
Of course.
So, for some reason, for me, I play Smash like a traditional fighting game, even though it's somewhat of an unorthodox fighting game, right? So I was playing Terry as if he was, you know, still in King of Fighters, and I got a lot of flack from my friends for like, I do my typical, you know, spacing, footsies, zoning, stuff like that in Smash, and for them, they are more like the fast pace, get the match over quick type players. And I was very patient. Because Terry Bogard aside, I played like characters like Incineroar and Isabelle and Link, or Toon Link, that is. But with Terry Bogard, I did typical things like run in. Oh, he's running in. I'm going to throw out an attack. Back up. Buster Wolf. You know, because for those of you that don't know, Terry's like Ultimate Smash wasn't Buster Wolf. He had a gimmick where once he reached a certain threshold of damage, he unlocked 2 new moves. Buster Wolf and Buster Geyser were the 2 moves that he unlocked. And they were like the traditional inputs from his native game to do the moves. So it was the half circle forward, or quarter circle forward, half circle back, and then like a half circle. I can't remember the input for Buster Wolf, because for Buster Geyser it was a quarter circle, half circle, and then Buster Wolf was a double quarter circle forward in Smash. But they were like incensed. They were like enraged. I was just kind of just dipping in and out. They whiff a move, punish them with these attacks, you know. Because I was, like I said, when I play Smash, I play it like a traditional fighting game, which I guess is an unorthodox way to play Smash.
Yeah, because they don't consider it a fighting game and don't even think about getting into that.
Right.
I'm over that freaking debate. If y'all want to waste y'all's breath talking about that,
it is very much a fighting game.
By all means, go ahead. I ain't just.
It's an unorthodox one, but it is a fighting game.
I mean, it's called platform fighter for a reason. There's a reason why we have things called subgenres. I ain't getting into that mess because that mess. That mess is dated.
Speaking of which, where's RUSHDOWN Revolt on the console?
RUSHDOWN Revolt?
Yes, I need that.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the little alpha that I played.
Yeah, because they've added a whole bunch of more characters, too. At least compared to when we last played RUSHDOWN Revolt. But I almost feel like, in a ways, does it seem kind of like platform fighters, you know, are more favored by the indie audience? Because there's so many.
It seems like it.
There's so many of them there, and it's like they mostly stay just within that particular.
Because you have Smash.
Because Smash is the big one. It's
you have a diehard Brawlhalla fan base.
Brawlhalla's another one.
Rivals of Ether. Yeah, that's a Switch exclusive.
Which really?
Yes. Well, Switch and PC, I want to say.
That's like I'm pretty sure it's PC.
But yeah, Switch and PC.
Because Rivals 2, I do want to try out. Like I said,
it's very fun. It's very fun.
You play Rivals 2?
Yes, I have it on my Switch.
Is it already out?
Yeah, Rivals of Ether has been out on the Switch for years. I had that back when
Rivals 2.
Oh, Rivals 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea about that.
Yeah, they I think that got announced at.
Well, I'm patiently awaiting.
I want to say Evo, but I could be wrong.
I'm patiently awaiting that. Then I
just know when I saw that, like I said, I'm not deep into the platform fighters like that, but I would love to try Rivals 2 because
one of the characters that was very interesting to me that I made in Rivals, I can't remember his name. I want to say his name was Sylvanas. So. If you remember the movie Lady in the Water, there was like a weird like wolf creature made out of bramble vines. And that's basically what Sylvanas is. And he has a move where when he moves around the stage, just naturally moving. It's not like an attack or anything. When he moves, he leaves patches of grass. And when he does certain special moves, those patches of grass like turn into like spikes or thorns or stuff like that.
Okay. Kind of reminds me of like they gave it to Eliza and Skullgirls later, but like when she would take damage, blood would basically be there, and like you could basically either draw the blood into Eliza to heal, or you could use it to attack the opponent, stuff like that.
So a little Carmine, a little sprinkle of Carmine.
Yeah, I mean they themselves also mentioned like if you look back at that old like back when they were doing the whole crowdfunding thing and they gave people a list of the characters in Skullgirls that they that you could vote on. They would show you the character. They would explain, I think, little bits of their backstory, but also like their gameplay style. And of course, they would basically have a list of inspirations, like far as like gameplay inspirations. And I know Carmine was amongst the ones on Eliza, but like that just seems like the thing. It's like aside from like all the big ones, like I said, the big one, Smash is gonna be it's gonna be the biggest one of all time.
I'm also mad at Smash.
Why?
So when Sora got revealed from Kingdom Hearts, when Sora got revealed, the way they did the trailer pissed me off for one reason. They, show the trailer, blah, 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 and they show a little fire. And me, being a Souls fan, I was like, oh, snap. They're adding a Dark Souls character to Smash. That's great. And then it's like, oh, okay, it's Sora, I guess. Like... And that's not no disrespect to Kingdom Hearts, but I was disappointed because it seemed like it was a Dark Souls thing when they showed the bonfire, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll take Sora.
Okay. That would probably that kind of reminds me of like a little scandal that happened at Evo where I think it was after like a Tekken reveal. Mm-hmm. And I think the immediate thing that came after that was like the little codec sound from Solid Snake. And I think some people had mentioned that was a hoax and like it really pissed a lot of people off.
Gonna take it. And he will be going on to grand final, ladies and gentlemen. Make some noise for me. But let's not be mistaken. Name some amazing. This is Snake.
What? No.
What's that? Piranha, where are you?
Which be kind of funny if he was the last character in that past. Like, Snake's been in fighting games already. He's in Smash, so.
He was in OG Smash, actually. Well, not the original, but I think it was in Melee. He was in that one, and they brought him back to Smash Ultimate.
He was in Brawl. Brawl.
Brawl, yes.
He was in Brawl. Because that was where they first like got the little third-party guest characters. Because it was him, it was Sonic, and then then it expanded beyond that.
You just reminded me of something. Tekken 7, right? You remember they were coming out with the reveals for Tekken 7 with the guest characters and the DLC characters, right? And you remember when they revealed ZAFINA?
Yes.
I just noticed they basically reneged on something. They specifically stated that this version of ZAFINA that had absorbed Azazel from Tekken 6 was non-canon. They specifically stated that at the beginning of the trailer for ZAFINA. And then they reneged on it because now that version of her is canon to Tekken 8.
So what was the result of that? Just like backtracking on the backtrack?
I guess so. Backtracking on the backtrack. Which I guess she doesn't have her powers anymore as far as the story goes. Because Kazuya like ripped Azazel out of her and absorbed him into itself. Because her and Claudio, like, on the offshoot, they should have died in that story. They should have. But given what happened to them.
At this point, like, again, it seems like I cannot escape this shit. Because I was going to say, I'm like, I mean, if they die, would it mean much of anything?
Right.
Because,
like, I would have been upset.
Once again.
I would have been upset. But it wouldn't have had, like, a huge impact. Because, like, it would appear that they died in the story. But in the epilogue, it's like, okay, they're fine. They just don't have powers anymore.
I don't know. It's just the way, like, they've been handling the Bisons and the freaking Heihachis.
I mean, yeah, that is true.
That's why I'm just like,
because like
at this point, and I cannot escape it. There's no escaping it. It keeps coming back to me.
You remember the meme I showed you?
Of course.
With the dude from Simpsons. On both sides, they were like, one was throwing Bison out the bar and the other one was throwing Heihachi out the bar, and then like the dude showed back up in the bar, but as like the new clone Bison and as the young Heihachi.
It's just like I can't, like, with me, just I
feel like they could have just made them non-canon.
This is what I mean. Where it's like deaths in fighting games, like it's just
inconsequential.
It's comic book stuff, as Vault put it. I think when I have Vault,
it'll eventually go back to status quo.
Pretty much, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just at this point, does it even matter? Like,
right.
It's comic book stuff now. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm just like,
are there any fighting games that have like stuck to keeping a character dead, like ever?
The only ones I can think of are like characters that have been written off for good. Because then again, I can't even say that about Su Hao. I was going to say the fact that they kept Su Hao dead after that, but like they killed Su Hao off at that time just because they didn't like it. Like they just knew that character was unpopular.
Right.
I don't know exactly what happened there.
Well, actually, yeah. Let me rephrase the question. Is there any fighting game that exists where a popular character has stayed dead?
As in, like, permanently?
Permanently. Like, to date, has stayed dead.
I doubt that.
Or at the very least, hasn't been pushed back into the canon. Because sometimes they will bring the character back, but it's like, it's not canon.
And here's the thing. It's like, with people like me, it's like, it ain't just like, you know, you kill off a Bison, you kill off a Heihachi. He ain't telling you how to get rid of them for good or whatnot. Like I said, once again.
It's the fact that they're now canon, that they are alive.
Well, it's not even just that. It's like, again, I think King of Fighters handled it so much better when it came to Ash. Because, I mean, I know, like, Ash isn't a villain, since I know you talk about Bison and you talk about freaking Heihachi. Those are the villains.
How did he resurrect? Because I remember he, like,
Who, Ash?
Ash, because he...
Verse.
Okay.
Verse. His soul was inside of Verse.
Okay.
His soul was inside of Verse. Rugal was inside of Verse. Dolores was inside of Verse, but we did not know Dolores until 15.
Right. We didn't know she
We had, of course, Team Orochi. They were in there. Like, once Verse went down, all these people came back.
Right.
Ginnets. You know what I'm saying?
Here's a fun thought experiment.
But it's like, what I was going to say, though, with Ash, is like, they kept him down for one game because he was nowhere as far as like a playable character in 14. Right. He made a cameo when he was resurrected. But then on top of that, guess what? Like I said, I don't know what the villainous equivalent of this could be. As a matter of fact, maybe like it's just right there in plain sight. But like, Ash ended his saga by dying.
Right.
pretty much a sacrifice. And then come the next game, that further made a way for whoever the new protagonist was going to be, and that was Shune.
Right.
Because, I mean, obviously you had the other two King of Fighters protagonists there because K-Dash came back, but K-Dash wasn't really like in a major storyline, and still technically isn't if yet. Well, no, not really. Because again, with 15, I still stand by what I said. That mess was just a vehicle to bring back K49/Cronin.
Right.
That was the vehicle for that. And I mean, Kyo is going to be around, like, come on now. But it's like, you know, they kept him down for just one game, and it further made way. And on top of that, it wasn't even just him that came back. It was a bunch of other characters that came back.
Right. They kept Heihachi down for 6 months.
With the Heihachi mess, it was kind of...
Now,
with the Heihachi mess, it was kind of silly because you even got Harada basically lying. Like, screw trolling. He was lying, saying, oh, I completely did.
Right. Now...
and I don't want to hear again this mess. Oh, but Bison, I know what Bison's lore is, okay?
Right.
We get it, all right? I know it.
Because this character is effectively still Bison.
We know, okay?
Now,
I even gave him credit for the fact that they played this whole mystery man thing with him.
Right.
Cool. But the problem with it is that it ended up as freaking business as usual because Shadaloo is back.
Right.
Neo Shadaloo could have carried this mess.
You know what they could have done?
We know. Fighting Bison is like killing a goddamn ghost. We get it, okay?
Do you know what they could have done?
I'm just making that point there.
I get it.
No, not you. It's just like the fact that they just keep thinking, ooh, you complaining about Bison, you don't know his lore. We know, okay? Just because we know it and just because it makes sense does not mean it's not dry and redundant.
Right. Now, you know what they could have did? At the very least?
Yeah.
Since they're playing up the, I don't know who this Bison guy is, but I guess I'll just use this guy's name. You know, they could have made him play completely different from Bison in a Reina sort of way, where he has his own moveset and like a few callbacks to Mike Bison's moveset.
And the problem with that, though, is that here's the difference between Reina and Bison.
Mm-hmm.
Bison's a long-time classic nostalgia bait character. You can't change too much with him then because people will flip.
That is true.
Because the funny thing about it is we discussed this kind of sort of earlier. It just wasn't Bison we were talking about. Just to drop y'all a little bit of news because I think I might have missed something because I don't think I mentioned it anywhere in the video, but Mai's Fatal Fury City of the Wolves
design.
Like not just the design but the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
But we are talking about the design. We are. Because I thought, given the fact that we got a Terry alternate costume, the classic Terry, as a pre-order bonus, I thought we were going to be getting alternate costumes all around. For that reason, and on top of that, it's like, I know with certain characters that have made a comeback, like returning Fatal Fury characters, like old school Fatal Fury characters, I know some people are not hot on some of the designs. Because some people weren't really hot about Billy's.
Right.
Because you look at it like he kind of like, you know, as I said it, he reminded me of Chester Bennington, rest in peace, from Linkin Park with his. Also a little bit of Jeff Jarrett because Jeff Jarrett, wrestler, has that blonde style and he's swinging something at people. Some people ain't hot on that. Some people want to do with the bandana and like the old school mess, which, you know, have like, cool, I get it. But nope, not the case. That classic costume we saw of Mai in the trailer, that was just a little Easter egg tied to one of her moves. And we have, of course, you know what, let me not word it like that. I don't want to throw any unnecessary heat on the guy. But we learned this information from Nabil's, of course, of Neo Geo Now. Shout out as always, Nabil is awesome. He had an interview with SNK, and SNK confirmed this. And I've seen so many people claiming that they're not going to buy the game because of that. I joked about this.
No classic mind, nobody.
That's what I said right there. We talked about, like I told you, we talked about this earlier.
Now
it went from freaking no Mai, no buy to no classic Mai, no buy.
Now,
and all I gotta say is this. Hey, you do with your money what you want.
Right.
I just say it couldn't be me
getting
flustered about a freaking costume. It couldn't be me, honestly.
Now, for me,
I could they could make like a whole another design for like my favorite character, Darlie Dagger. I might not dig it as much as classic Darlie Dagger, but she's there. I'm gonna freaking pick it up and freaking play. Still,
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And my point, because from one standpoint, I'm glad she's back in the series, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Come on,
from
mine.
mine, yes,
She never left.
right. So,
as far as Fatal Fury, she never left.
so my only thing is, I was telling Lotus about this earlier. The leather suit aesthetic doesn't suit her using the fan to me.
I was like, because I think somebody else actually. Now that I think about it, I think somebody else might have mentioned that. But their thing wasn't so much the fans, but they think that they should have given her like something like, I think this person had recommended like a long belt or something, like, you know, you've seen characters where they have belts, but like the belt will like hang off or whatever, like it's very long or whatever.
Are you talking about the thing where it's like they have on a belt and then they have on a second one that's like not, like it's buckled on one side and not on the other?
Yeah, something like that. But like, just imagine like it's a belt, but like it's freaking long and like they'll have it hanging down or something.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wanted something like that for her, I guess, to go in tune with this kind of heavy metal Black Widow type of like aesthetic that she has.
Like, and
when they say this,
when you say the belt,
but when they say this, the reason why they mentioned the belt was they wanted that to justify the use of the Ryuin boot, which is like the little spinning move she has where she spins and like throws a fire. Because usually when you see that move, it is done from like the tail of Maya's whole cost, like the tail. You see like the tail.
Okay, so not like she's wearing a belt, but almost like in a Catwoman type style where it's like
they wanted like this person like, and I at first I was like, they're being nitpicky, but then I actually understood it. You know, you want something to actually, because when she's done that move and it's like based around the tail of her old costume,
right?
You need something to compensate for that.
You know what they could have did? Simple change, right? Still have the leather suit get up, right? And you know those like
I just had an idea myself.
Not a skirt per se, but you know the skirt-esque, like almost like a gladiator, where it's like it covers the backside in the sides of the waist, but not the front.
Right.
She could have had like a leather, like I guess like a waist cape.
Yeah, I have like something, but this might have been a little bit extra. How about like since she's kind of like, you know, dressed like a metal gal or whatever, how about having a chain hang off of her?
That would have worked as well.
That might be a little bit brutal though. It's like you over here doing freaking Mike got like a flame chain going.
At that point, because how old did you say her character was?
In City of the Wolves, she's 34, I think.
That's almost midlife crisis right there.
It's a midlife.
But yeah, but I get your point to like justify like the move, unless
I can't. No, don't put that on me. I can't. This person, I might have to throw the comment up on the board.
Right.
That was their idea. Shout out to this person right here.
The other thing they could have done, still keep the same move. She's like spinning and all that, but change the animation to where she's like kicking them.
Ooh, freaking fire kick!
Right. Like doing some type of spiral spinning kick type stuff.
Yep.
And that way it would make sense of the spinning motion.
By the way, I got it too. It was freaking just making sure, just double checking. It was 34 years old. City of the Wolves.
Right now, and to be
which makes my 4 years older than King of Fighters right now.
Right now,
well, the King of Fighters series to be exact, because the tournament's hella old, and because the first time we saw the King of Fighters tournament is actually in the Art of Fighting games.
Right.
Which, between like Fatal Fury, Art of Fighting, because King of Fighters is a whole other like timeline or whatnot. But it's those two games and the Savage Reign series, the Fuin series. Because in that order, because the Art of Fighting games are the earliest, then comes Fatal Fury, and then the Fuin series comes after that.
Right. Now, because with Maya Super, she like balls up, doesn't she?
You're thinking about the 15 one. I think she still does it like in this one. I think she still does it in City of the Wolves. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. I would say that even if they didn't add like some type of chain or a belt, they should have changed the animation where she's like kicking. And that would have made sense of her not having any like
the funny thing about it is
something hanging off the waist.
If you look at like this nice little twist they have on one of her supers then where it's like it's the same one but they have her doing like some more like motions and everything. Like they did well with that right there.
Right.
They did well with that right there. But and by the way, of course, Mai's birthday is New Year's Day, so just January the 1st. January the 1st.
Look, my mother's birthday is New Year's Eve. But yeah, I think that would have done well if they didn't want to have anything hanging off of that the waist to change the silhouette. They could have just changed it to her kicking and have like still they have
which
that
makes
similar...
me wonder. That makes me wonder now I think about it because I had looked it up just to like get the dates and everything or whatnot because Mai is supposed to come out in the winter. I have to like find another freaking
Like you mean in City of the Wolves?
No, in Street Fighter 6 actually.
Oh, okay.
I know I'm jumping ahead like I know I'm jumping ahead of the mess then, but like they did so well with
Are they doing her Wolves outfit or are they doing the classic Mai?
That is a good question. Now, as far as like the image that we saw, which I remember this was at Summer Game Fest, we learned about this. Because on the image that you see, it's classic Mai.
Okay.
But as they also showed in Terry's trailer, Terry has an alternate.
He has the Garo, yeah.
So now that makes me wonder: are we going to see that costume, the Garo
Street Fighter 6?
Yeah, which makes me I wonder about that. I actually wonder about what, because it's one thing like when you making alternates for characters in like your own franchise and everything, but then you get some guests. It's like people wonder what you gonna do. Yeah, winter of 2025 is when she comes out in freaking
Street Fighter 6.
It's like,
I mean,
matter of fact, with that being said, she's gonna have to be in January, I think, or
right.
maybe February.
Nah, but they got stuff to pull from. Just like I was telling one of my buddies with Marvel Rivals, they have a plethora of skin ideas from like the different universes in Marvel. Mm-hmm. They have a plethora. Especially with Iron Man, because he has like all of his different suits and whatnot.
If they pull that one freaking heavy metal outfit that I wanted, which is from that art, then that's gonna be crazy. Because
that would fit with Street Fighter.
Because they're literally like it's literally a freaking picture of Mai. And it's like she's basically being the focus here because you see two other figures there with her. It's just they don't have because also, by the way, in case y'all don't know, Cheshire Cat Smiles is an artist, so I know you know about like perspective and everything.
Right.
It's like it's one of those, and I can pull it up, but it's like you see these other two figures who I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to get it wrong, but it's like she is literally there like in, like you've seen 90s stuff and everything, like the little bad metal girl and everything.
Right.
She got the leather jacket, the t-shirt, jeans and everything.
Me and another buddy of mine, we were talking about perspective the other day, ironically. We were talking about Zenless Zone Zero.
See?
Because there's a fair bit of fan service in Zenless Zone. Oh my goodness, that is a... What? Yeah, I like that.
Showed them the picture.
But when you go through the menus for the characters, like for their stats and blah blah blah, like the characters like change positions as you're like going through their menus,
right?
And they know what they want your eye to catch, because with certain characters, like there's a character named Nicole and a character named Rena. Mm-hmm. The camera angle, like they want your eyes to focus on, the chest area.
Right.
And it is, we were talking about it because it's like they're not even like being shameful about it. Like it's right there. There's like no possible way you can look at anything but that, But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, like I like that.
Yeah,
that would have been, because that's, if I'm being totally honest, that's basically Terry's Garo outfit, because it's jeans, leather jacket,
kind of same combo.
Yeah, like a similar aesthetic.
Yeah, it's just the fact is like a lot of people don't know that she's a fan of heavy metal music, so like why not do something like that? I mean, I know some folks can pick her like, oh, like it's too covered up. It's like, it's a fucking good look, man. It's a good look.
I got tired of that with MK. With
I want to go down that road.
I'll do it for you. 'Cause, like, in what was it, MKX, right?
Yep.
They were more or less traditional costumes, right?
Yeah.
With the female ninjas having basically bikinis on.
Yeah.
And then MK11 come around. Boom. The characters are of course in MKX they was like, oh, they're too scantily clad, this too sexual, blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. MK11 comes around. They have more moderate outfits on. They still look like those characters traditionally, but it's not just a bikini. They actually have like outfits and an interesting like silhouette to their character. And it was like, oh, they got too much clothes on. They're not blah blah blah. It's not like the old thing. And it's like, what do y'all want?
Then play the old thing is all I gotta say.
Right.
That's
Just play the old game.
You know what I'm saying? I like, some of that old design, I like it too, but like some of the stuff they did recently was all right too. The only thing I'll say with that mess is like when it came to the answer from NRS or whatever, I didn't like the fact they were trying to play the realistic card because it's like, for instance, with Jade, it's like Jade's in heels.
Yeah.
Like she's in heels. It's like realistically, unless this person's got some supernatural freaking just like a supernatural athlete or whatever, you ain't fighting.
You ain't fighting in heels.
Yeah. There's a reason why in most of these fights you see people like they be having them taking them off.
Right. Because, like,
one, it's not comfortable to fight in, I would imagine. And number two, probably going to use it as a weapon.
Right. Because in the older games, it was like I said before, your typical thing. They basically had a push-up bra, grandma panties, and some long heels. Like long shoes that came up like just past the knee.
Yeah. When I see like that picture of Mai, like in just the leather jacket and everything, I also think of freaking Joan Jett. I think of Joan Jett a little bit then. Just like, except Joan Jett kind of, had the tomboyish thing going on, whereas Mai is very prettiful with the stuff and all that. But, that's going to be very interesting. That's going to be very interesting to see like what they have for her Street Fighter 6, honestly.
Because that's what I liked about
I still think, like, if anything, they should, like, if they're really concerned about making, like, the Ryu and Boo, like, giving her an article of clothing that justifies it, because, of course, when she used it before, you had the tail on the traditional outfit or whatever.
Right.
Give her, like, it might sound brutal, but give her a chain, that's all I'm saying.
Right.
Or do the belt idea, one of those two.
That's what I liked about Strive's designs for their characters. Because it was like a modern...
I forgot, like, who said it, but, like, somebody pointed out with Strive how it's, like, a lot of those designs... I don't want to say Americanized, but I guess modernized.
Because Maximilian said they were like more American, but it's like it's more modern clothing. Because it's like the character designs are still stellar and amazing, but it's like they actually have on like regular clothes that you could see somebody wearing.
Yeah, because like for me personally, like the biggest standout culprit of that would be May, in my opinion.
Right.
Because y'all have seen what May has been dressed like all throughout then. Pretty much like some cartoonish anime pirate yanked out of your favorite trippy freaking manga. But then comes Strive. Honestly, looks like a freaking city girl with a big hat walking around with an anchor.
Right. Because like with Kai, for instance, it's like, okay, if I want to cosplay Kai, get me some blue jeans, a black t-shirt, and like a white coat to just wear on my shoulders.
Right.
Like a lot of their cosplays in Strive are doable, because it's more modern looking clothing. It's still exaggerated, but it's more modern.
But man, oh man. But yeah, like, and I'm trying to think, because I mean, even with the new with the newer characters, which I just I forgot, like
Giovanna.
Yeah, Giovanna.
It's literally just corporate design.
Yeah, like the only thing I was just about to get to Giovanna. Love that character. Because like the only thing that's really just kind of fancy and kind of out there with her are like the shoes.
Yeah, because the shoes and the Ghost Wolf.
Oh yeah, of course.
Even with Ramlethal, like go get you some White Ranger panties, for which, if y'all don't know what that is, basically short shorts that go above the knee.
And then on top of that, it's like that they even like kind of everybody, like a lot of folks in here had headgear. They got their headgear like modernized because even she got her headgear modernized.
Yeah, because at first it was kind of like Sign. It was like a weird cat ear type of headdress, but now it's like more like a poofy hat, almost like a sailor,
almost
type
like
thing.
what May has,
right?
Almost.
And then just like a cloak, and then like a midriff like shirt, and it's like that works.
Like I think the only person that really kind of kept their mess from Exar to Strive, I think, to be Potemkin a little bit.
Yeah, because his thing is more of like a weird, like militaristic, like mech kind of. Well, not mech because that is his body.
Yeah,
but just kind of like a militaristic, like enhancement, like suit type thing.
Right.
So that's the only one that is more on the exaggerated side.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that right there is kind of what they attempted for the Fatal Fury characters that got their designs like switched up some?
Talking about Angaro? Or
yes.
Yeah. Because
because who all so far? Well, the person probably with the most significant glow up, honestly. I don't know how you would measure this then, but I think Billy probably has it then because this man went from, because he used to have like jean jackets and jeans and the bandana and everything, and then
like he has like what looks like basically boxers like boots on, and then some shorts and like a jean jacket, with some sunglasses, and that works.
And the thing that gets most people, like especially now, I think is like the hair and the glasses and all that,
right? Because he ditched the do rag,
and I mean, you know what? Now I think about it, since you're bringing
the bandana
it up,
rather.
because you got to think, like, in storyline, he's the guy now because Geese is dead. Let me not even freaking tease it. But as far as we know, Geese is freaking dead. Like, I keep saying as far as we know because I'm so fearful they're going to do it. Man.
Hold on. I'm for those of you that don't know, I was knocking on wood just to make sure they don't do the same thing they did with Tekken and Street Fighter.
God. I mean, y'all already heard what my opinion is, and Nightmare Goose is right there. That's all I gotta say. But I feel like they're gonna do it because exploring this whole stage theory. Now, to be fair, some people have because so the stage theory. Have you heard about the stage theory? Like,
no, I haven't. So
Ruffelmonger has this theory. Like, I don't know if he started it. I just know he is probably the loudest voice that is propagating it.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, his logic seems pretty sound. Because with every single reveal for City of the Wolves, every single character has had their own stage.
Okay.
Now, one stage that we've seen in gameplay has not been accounted for. And that is, if you've seen it, it's like kind of pinkish then, but it's an amusement park.
Okay.
Now, if you go back in Fatal Fury, like, the old games or whatnot, when it comes to that type of lively, carousel, freaking amusement park or whatever, that stage is mostly or closely associated with Raiden. That's the big wrestler, basically. The big, based on Big Van Vader.
Okay.
He was in 13 on top of that. I'm trying to actually get it in because I don't think you have too much of a history of Fatal Fury.
No,
not too much. Okay,
not at all.
But yeah, the big old kind of chubby wrestler dude that was in 13, that's Raiden.
Okay,
that's Raiden, also known as the Big Bear. Also known as Big Bear. Raiden is his heel persona, and Big Bear is his face persona. Similar to
so there's two wrestler characters that have completely different characters for a face and a heel.
Yep.
Okay.
Because he knows about KOD.
T-Zoc and KOD, yeah.
And I even said, you know what? If it is Raiden, I'm all for it. Because one thing I've wanted fighting games to do, here's the thing. When it comes to the wrestler characters in fighting games, most of the time they are not going to be the guy or the girl as far as the protagonist, the one that's going to save the world.
Right.
Almost had a bar there. Almost. They're not going to be, the last time we really had that in a major fighting game where, a wrestler character is the guy, the girl, or whatever, or in this case, the guy, that was Alex in Street Fighter 3. So it's the reason why I bring that up is because if we do get Raiden, if that stage is indeed Raiden's and freaking Ruffelmonger's whole thing is true, I'm all for it because some people will think, oh, it's not enough gameplay for like Tizok and Raiden, they both fight differently. They both do. And another reason why I like it is because, again, I want to see fighting games utilize their wrestlers in some wrestling style storylines. You know, we got Tizok, and if it is indeed Raiden, he has a heel to go against. I like that. Like, I want to see more of that then, because Tizok ain't going to save the day in this freaking storyline. Let's just keep it a buck. He's not going to. You go to freaking Street Fighter, Geef is not going to save the day. Who would that be? Like King?
Right. Well,
like, and I mean, King does have a good story. Not going to put that. As a matter of fact, the inspiration behind it is actually really good too. But it's like, I would love to see more pro wrestling style storylines with these characters that are not going to be major factors in the storyline. You know what I'm saying? For instance, they could have literally had some type of rivaling wrestling team for the GAW team in King of Fighters 15 because those motherfuckers ain't freaking saving the world.
we need a third. We need a third. Because you got Tizok and what was the other character?
Raiden?
Yeah. So we got Tizok, we got Raiden. We need a third. I have
been lobbying for freaking Sagumi Sendo, and you can look her up then. I've been lobbying for her then.
But no, we can come up with something even better. Because you know, as they say in the past, all men are created equal.
Of course. He just wanted himself. he wanted a freaking excuse to freaking do the Steiner math mess. Which is funny because Sagumi Sendo, that's a chick. And she wrestles.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
You look her up, she gonna look like Asuka.
Segumi?
Tsugumi.
You said Shendo?
Sendo.
Sendo. Ah, okay. Huh. Yeah, she does look awesome.
Yeah.
But, like...
And on top of that, again, I've said it before, I appreciate it when fighting games have wrestling characters that don't straight up just pivot to the stereotype of wrestlers. Gotta be a big old freaking beefy, meaty Vince McMahon fever dream character.
Right.
I don't play him all that much then, but characters like Ramon, I appreciate him then. El Fuerte, him too. You know, and even the R. Mikas and the Sagumi Sendos of the world.
You know,
the
freaking wrestling team,
the freaking JCs. You know what I'm saying? But who?
So you have the GAW?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have GAW. That's wrestling. Interesting opposing team would have been an MMA team.
Yeah.
Because in real life, there's that whole debate between wrestling and MMA.
Another debate that I don't
Right. We're not going to get into that. But that would have been an interesting opponent.
You could even base it on the fact that a lot of MMA people have crossed over into wrestling.
Exactly.
And vice versa.
So in that case, you could do...
You know what I like?
You could do that because you could have like...
You know why I like that idea already?
Wrestling characters go... Like a wrestling character or two wrestling characters go over to this MMA team.
Right.
Have a new character.
You know why I like this idea already?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Antonov, KOD, and Ramon, they're going to be like a goofy, but... I ain't going to say sympathetic, but you get what I mean. They're going to be like the goofy, rather... No, let's just say it. Sympathetic freaking... That's going to be your babyface team or like your hero team.
Right.
As far as that then. Not saying everybody in MMA is a jerk ass. But still, that's some good material.
I'm still campaigning for Angel as a heel.
That's still freaking good. You know, as far as like an MMA team would be good for like a heel faction. Is what
right.
I'm saying.
But I still advocating for Angel as a heel. Because I would have liked to see that.
I wouldn't have minded that, but the thing with Angel was part of that big angle. Like I said, that thing was a whole vehicle to bring that freaking K49 character back.
Right.
She actually Because
I can see
it's so funny you mentioned that.
I can see her as a dirty wrestler.
It's so funny because you mentioned that in the previous KOF, she was on a team with those two dudes. Like it wasn't Antonov. But then look who actually...
Because it was her...
KOD. Ramon. It was Team X.
Okay.
It's like, but still, look who graduated to a more significant storyline. Like, I mean, I know, like, again, the Nest team has kind of been just sitting there and just been there. And I mean, granted, I didn't like some of the elements of that story, particularly with how they lured Kula away, which makes sense, but I'm just like, why? But
Like, it makes sense for her character, but
yeah, it does. It does.
It just doesn't like sit right with the audience.
Well, with
you
more. Okay. So, you know what I'm saying? And y'all see that? I can understand why they did that, and it makes sense because someone with a childlike mind will be baited with ice cream. It's just like, damn, though. Doesn't mean I have to like it, but at the same time, it's like, hey, I get it makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's a good idea. Like an MMA team, like that would be a good heel faction because, you know, MMA.
Because what? You would have Joe? I feel like
I'm against any established characters being there. Like,
so it would be a totally new character.
I would have, like, for me, like, honestly, it would have to be totally new characters, or even those people might not take this seriously. And this is a long shot. They could bring Gai Tendo back because he was in a KOF. He was in KOF 11, and he was originally a Bariki 1 character. That was like a very obscure 3D fighting game that SNK did years ago. But they brought him back, and he was in KOF 11.
Okay.
You could bring him in to lead like a rival faction
team. Yeah. Okay.
Like, hey, you could have like a Bariki 1 team or something like that.
Because what?
Because Bariki 1 has some badass characters. Freaking Rio was in freaking Bariki 1, but it was him as Mr. Karate too.
Okay. So, because realistically, so you have your wrestling team, you have the MMA team, right? So, you would have a grappler, obviously, because that's a part of MMA, or that can be a part of MMA. You would have more of a strike character.
There's a wrestler character in Bariki 1 too. Because the whole thing Bariki 1 is like everybody is coming in there. You know, it's kind of the fighting game thing. But the whole gimmick was based around the fact that everybody's coming here and everybody's representing a particular fighting style then.
Right.
So it's like you got.
And if I'm drawing parallels for what I would imagine the opposite team would be, and I'm using parallels from other games. But think King, Bruce, and Azucena as like the MMA team.
It still makes me. Now that you mention that, it makes me wonder. Like, I almost feel like SNK is missing out on opportunity there because we got 2 of the characters over in Street Fighter 6, but you know, everybody, including myself, thought we were going to see Street Fighter character in KOF 15 or even City of the Wolves. It's seeming less and less likely now.
Honestly, I would be kind of excited for a Tekken crossover.
You think that last character in that freaking season pass is a Tekken character?
No, like, I don't think it's going to be, but I'm saying it would be interesting.
Hold up, my bad. That's not what I meant to ask. The last character in the pass of the Tekken 8 pass. I think it
might be a guest character. I think it might be a guest character.
Is Tekken 8 going to get Terry?
Said it's the year of Terry.
Like, that man is going to be all over the freaking place.
I think it would be interesting to have, like, you could have King, obviously.
Right.
And maybe either Kazuya or Jin. I would say Jin because Kazuya already had his spotlight at Smash. Well, so I would give it to Jin.
They did cross over like with the King of Fighters All-Star, which I wish that the major games would have that much crossover, but y'all had to throw it to freaking King of Fighter All-Star. Like, why?
Right.
But I mean, maybe with that it's easier. I mean, I know mobile games, like, I might not play them all that much, but I know they have a market. You know, if you got that many downloads, there's definitely a market. Right. So, but now that I even said that, like, you know, even teasing and joking the idea of Terry and freaking Tekken 8, I'm going to bring up something that Vault mentioned, and also some other people have mentioned it. I want to know what you think about it. What do you think of people who see, for instance, like, it doesn't center around this character, but what do you think when people say, you know, oh man, Terry and Mai in Street Fighter 6, if y'all want these characters so bad, just go play a Fatal Fury or a KOF game?
Well, I think they're cornballs. Like, because from a marketing standpoint, it makes perfect sense to, like, hey, here's a character from another game.
It's just different
that you like.
He meant no disrespect, but it's just different opinions. That's all it is.
From the standpoint of
shout outs to Vault. Bro, you're not a cornball at all.
I'm sorry. But like, from a marketing standpoint, it makes perfect sense. Because it's like, okay, we're going to bring KOF character over here. That way, we can get some of the King of Fighters people over on Street Fighter. You feel me? So, for me at least, that makes perfect sense to have guest characters in a game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just like takes the older Soul Calibur 2 and 3. Or pretty much any Soul Calibur. Because Soul Calibur 2, it had, you got the GameCube, you got Link. You had the PlayStation, 3. You had a Haji.
3.
No, it was 2.
It was 2?
Yeah. And then if you got the Xbox, you got Spawn, and then they had the other character that Tom McFarlane made, Necrid. But it makes sense. It makes perfect sense to have guest characters in it. Just like with Tekken 7, for instance. You had Negan, which that was completely out of left field.
I don't know what I was thinking.
Yeah, that was Negan was completely out of left field for Tekken 7, but it worked. You had Negan, you had Geese, you had Noctis from Final Fantasy 15. Like, it makes sense. Because then it's like, hey, the people from this community are like, hey, this character I like from the game that I play is also in this fighting game. Let me go check that out. So it makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me that you would have guest characters or a character from another fighting game or a completely different franchise to come over to this fighting game to attract fans from that fan base. You know, just like with the DNF situation. It was like, okay, we have this PC and mobile game. So we're going to try to get some of those people onto the console, or we're going to make this fighting game on the console.
Right.
So that we can maybe seed some of those people over to like the MMO that we have. You feel me? Just like with Grand Blue. Grand Blue was originally a mobile game. Mm-hmm. So it's like, we're going to get people into Grand Blue. And if we get them into this fighting game on the console, then maybe they'll come over and play this mobile game.
I liked what DNF Duel was doing. I like what Grand Blue was doing. But if they thought they were going to pipeline me to those games,
right. To be fair, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work for everybody.
Yeah, like,
but it opens the door.
So it's like you pretty much down with the cross promotion that comes with stuff like this.
Yes, because whether the fan base transitions over, you still get people talking about it. Yeah. And then you have some people that might not play fighting games or whatever. They might just see people talking about it and just, let me go check out this. Right. You know, so. It is overall good, I think, because it feeds the fan base of both communities.
Yeah, it does, and I mean, like, I feel like in this point, because see, a lot of people didn't like the fact that they had been highly anticipating the second season, whatever you want to put it, of Street Fighter 6, and it's like 2 of them are guests. At the same time, like, I personally just think that this was a matter of striking while the iron was hot.
Right.
We got a new Fatal Fury that's on the way, and now seeing that we have a release date for City of the Wolves, it's pretty much a guarantee that both of these characters, Terry is going to be out next month, and
Maya's going to be out by the end of the year.
Maya's going to be like
you said December, right?
Winter of 2025, so it's going to be some time early.
Oh, you said winter of 20... Okay, so like January, February.
Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be a guarantee unless something happens that both of those characters are going to be out before City of the Wolves comes out. City of the Wolves comes out in April.
And once again, by the time Maya comes out, people are going to be hot off of playing Maya. And then right then, boom, City of the Wolves come out. Let me go over here and, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so...
So I personally like cross
promotion. And I mean, like, after like exploring so many of these guest characters, and I don't know why I had the brain fart thinking that Soul Calibur 3 is the game that had all those freaking guests. My bad on that one. But it's
I don't think Soul Calibur 3 had
it didn't. No, it
didn't. It didn't.
Like I said, I don't know why I brain farted that hard on that. Then when
because 4 had the Star Wars
characters, and then there was
5 had
then even Kratos was in that
Broken Destiny.
Yes.
Yeah, Broken Destiny on the not DS. I don't know what the fuck I was just saying.
PSP?
PSP.
Right.
And then Soul Calibur 6 had 2B as DLC, and then on the base roster it had Geralt from The Witcher.
And we had Haomaru.
Right.
Which, again, like, I mean, and on top of that, that was another matter of striking kind of while the iron was hot.
Because Samurai Showdown was still relatively new at the time.
It was still going. Because I thought, like, that right there was just... See, I thought, like, that right there was just magical, like, after they revealed that, and then, you know, Kuroki-san and, I'm sorry, I forgot the other guy's name. He does, like, all the translating. But they came up right there after they had announced that. That was just...
You know what's funny?
Was up.
While I was still playing Soul Calibur 6 pretty heavy, I made a Biken character with Haomaru's fighter style.
Which is so interesting because who was that in freaking Sam Show? It was Biken.
Right.
And then Biken actually popped back up in Guilty Gear Strive about a month or so after she was in Sam Show.
Right. And then they had that the warden from For Honor, and which that was a weird thing because you said, like, from a technical standpoint he was like really good, but he was a quote unquote boring character.
The thing is like that was like the general consensus that I heard at the time, but like I just know, like, you know, it's gonna be two different things you hear, because when I heard about him being really good, this came from, like, of course, the competitive type of forums and all that.
Right.
Because apparently, like, the character is really good or whatnot.
From a technical standpoint.
Now, for me, I ain't really call them boring. It's just I wasn't really feeling them still. Right. But at the same time, I still give SNK credit for trying something different.
Right.
Because that,
they pulled a Tekken.
Because that right there was some unexpected.
They pulled a Tekken. Because who, just like with Warden, who expected the villain from season whatever of The Walking Dead to be in Tekken? You feel me? So, the same thing with Samurai Showdown. It's like, For Honor, which by all measurements I consider a fighting game.
And the craziest thing about it is Tekken had a drought.
Right.
When it came to freaking guest characters.
Right.
Like, they had one in Tekken 3 with...
What was it?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, they had one guest character in Tekken 3.
Gone, exactly. I was trying to make sure you get... And then it's like from Tekken 3, and then like we had that drought until 7. That is rough. That's roughly a 4-game drought then, even if, like, you know, you count like the tag and all that. But
yeah, I like those unexpected.
Would you expect a freaking guest character in Tekken Tag?
I mean, with Tekken Tag, I would expect a guest character.
Okay.
I would expect one, because at least for me, Tekken Tag has a more goofy, like, nature to it.
Yeah.
So I would expect a guest character in Tag more than the base game.
It's like, I just thought about, like, that big old long drought right there. Which makes me wonder is, like, because I know a lot of Tekken players were not really hot on the idea of, like, especially after the havoc that freaking the likes of Geese and freaking Akuma wreaked, is like, ooh. Because I think even you also, because I asked Tsuki, I asked Onyx, I asked Damien them about this, like, that played Tekken, and I think I asked you about this. It's like, because I always try to picture it, it's like, if you had characters like those two, like Geese and freaking Akuma in Tekken 8 with those mechanics, you said they would be hell on earth.
They would be hell on earth because of the heat system. They would be hell. Because they would have to be toned down to work towards the mechanics of the game. Because if they just did what they did in Tekken 7, which is like, here's 80% of their moveset, and they can sidestep.
Because I just wonder, it's like, I just always think about that because, and obviously it doesn't have to be another fighting game character, but I just wonder, are they going to jump back on the bandwagon again with Tekken 8? I just wonder, are they going to do it?
If it's not season 1, it will definitely be season 2. If they don't do guests in season 1, it will, I'm guaranteeing it's going to be season 2. Because I want to say Tekken 1, Jesus Christ, Tekken 7's Tekken 7's first season didn't have any guest characters. I don't think. I'm
kind of funny. You got like a fighting game in their first installment has a guest character, which has actually happened before. Because a little bit of trivia, like, because I know, of course, everybody keeps trying to think like there's only one type of guest character when that's totally not the case. You have your first-party guest characters, which are characters made by the same company. And you have your third-party guest characters, which is what people think about in most cases when it comes to guest characters.
Right.
It's so funny, like, looking at Street Fighter with, like, you know, with Capcom themselves talking about Terry, and they're saying, oh, it's our first guest character. And it's like, that's your first third-party guest character. Because y'all have had guest characters in Street Fighter before. It's just that Capcom did such a wonderful job at melding them in together, and not to mention it's also a guest, not guest, but it's a shared universe. But you've had guest characters before. You have Final Fight characters there, but like, of course, it's a shared universe, and they blend it so well. Even in terms of like the storyline, they blend it so well. You had Akira in 5, also shared universe. But it's so funny when mentioning Akira is the fact that Akira comes from Rival Schools, right?
Right.
The very first Rival Schools game had a guest character in it, and that was Sakura.
Right.
Because if I recall, I think it was the director they were talking about, you know, just in case this game possibly doesn't do all that well, go put a little insurance on here. Everybody loves themselves some Sakura, so Sakura can boost up some sales, right?
Exactly.
Which, I mean, hey, this is like further proof. Like, I think a lot of people forget about that, where it's like Sakura could be a main. I put it like this: Sakura could be a franchise player. I think so. I think enough time has passed, you know, because I know a lot of people were thinking that they tried too hard with Luke as far as like another generation.
Mm-hmm.
But I always thought, like, if you wanted to establish like a new generation face of Street Fighter that's like is going to lead the new generation, I would have thought Sakura would have been the pick. Now, granted, I know that she's been around for so long that maybe, you know, not really new school, but just circling back, and this is something a lot of people don't think about, is like, I know it might seem like it's weird, but I don't know about
oh, never mind. The first season pass did have a guest character. I think the first season pass was with Negan.
Well, I'm talking about the first installment, like the first
game.
The
first game. I was backtracking on what I was saying earlier.
Right.
But yeah, Tekken 7's season 1 did have a guest character in it. But yeah, with the first game of a series, you said Rival Schools had Sakura.
They had a first party guest character. I'm trying to see if like was there any game where
any
like,
third party.
Because I think most of the games that probably had like third party guest characters in their very first installment, a lot of them probably didn't last all that long.
Either that or that was the nature of the game, like Smash.
Because Karnov was in all of the freaking Fighters history games, but of course he was first party because Data East made Karnov as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of like a game that like the first freaking entry in it had a third party guest. Because I always imagine in most cases it's like you get comfortable with your own stuff at first. You try to establish the characters and you try to establish the world and push. Then maybe if you're lucky enough to get to your 4th or your 5th installment, then you're like, okay, let's, you know, bring in some special guests, you know. I'm saying all this while, of course, remember y'all, don't panic. Don't worry.
Speaking of that,
what?
Guess what you was talking about?
Yep.
The earliest fighting game with a guest character.
Yep.
Would have been the first game by Data East.
Yep.
Which is the final boss is Karnov.
Yep.
From the arcade.
Because Karnov was his original game was a platformer. And on top of that, as being like the guest character, he's the main villain. As a matter of fact, one of the freaking Fighters history games is named after him. It's called Karnov's Revenge. Because he lost the first freaking time. But I say all this to say, like, again, I told y'all, this December is going to be icy.
No pun intended.
That's all I'm going to say. That is all I'm going to say. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. And if you're confused, stay tuned. That's all I got to say about that. But I can't really say I empathize too much with the whole thought of like, oh, you want to play like this right here? Go play that mess or whatnot. It's like, I would only feel that the only time I would feel that is if the game that the character is guesting in is too much like the game they came from.
Right.
Because in that case, it's like, all right, aside from maybe some dream matches or whatever, what's really that different from this then? Like, the mechanics are kind of the same. The overall vibe is the same. The art styles are a little too similar. You know what I'm saying? If there was something like that, then sure. King of Fighters 15 and Street Fighter 6, I mean, there is some difference, obviously. But I don't know. It's like... But, I mean, hey, like I said, I understand it because, I mean, especially like with the case... Now, when they had the Gamescom streaming... And as I mentioned in my videos where I reacted to Mai's trailer, when I reacted to Terry Bogart's trailer, this character, Terry that is, he's going to be in 2 games that are going to be running side by side with each other. Street Fighter 6. And then after that comes City of the Wolves. And it's so funny because I do remember that Rufelmonger, I think, dropped a video about the Terry Bogardification of games or whatnot. Which, I mean, it makes sense. That character has been all over the place. Like, if he's been in 4 freaking different, been a guest, rather, in 4 different fighting games, then best believe I'm pretty sure he's done a whole bunch of other guest appearances outside of that. Like I said, I would love to see some SNK representation in fighting games far past him and Mai in the future, but at the same time, you gotta acquiesce to the point that I don't think SNK has made any franchise players besides those 2. Like big time franchise players, I don't know. Like I said, as many of you pointed out when I was talking about Kyo, the 90s was kind of his peak. I don't know. I would still love to see him in a future fighting game sometime, like a major one on top, or even like an indie game. Major game or an indie game, I still think Kyo Kusanagi is just long overdue for something like that. But I just love how we've just gone all over the place when it comes to... kicked off this whole thing with King of Fighters 30th anniversary, and then we just went here and there around the square, but that's the magic of these types of conversations, if you will. Now, a lot of people I know were hoping for some type of game announcement for the 3rd anniversary, and I mean, I do get it. I do kind of get it. But instead, SNK announced a website where they're going to be dropping I think it's 30 different projects, which is still bound to be interesting. 30 exclusive programs, as I said, as I'm looking at the website. On August 25th, 1994, the very first title in the KOF series, the King of Fighters 94, made its explosive debut on the Neo Geo MVS arcade system. And since then, the KOF series has grown into the largest fighting game franchise with numerous titles leading up to the latest release, KOF 15. Thanks to the unwavering support of fans worldwide, the series proudly marks its 30th anniversary on August 25th. This beloved series has spanned generations and transcended borders, creating a global legacy. SNK is committed to taking on new challenges and meeting KOF fans' expectations everywhere. Which, honestly, meeting expectations? Yeah, they have. As much as y'all have heard me poke fun at SNK about this whole shatter all expectations thing when really they just kind of met them more so, yeah, solid statement there. Here's to many more years of fighting greatness. This reminded me, and I forgot where I saw it. I almost want to say on Twitter, or X Gon Give It To You as one of my favorite creators calls it, and I'm not going to stop saying it, so deal with it. But I think it was on there where somebody had asked with Street Fighter, and as a matter of fact, I think Street Fighter 6 was around the corner. And people were asking, do you think that King of Fighters 15 is going to survive when Street Fighter 6 comes? As much as I don't like the pitting of games like that against each other, and even with that particular even with that disclaimer, it's like I hate this stuff, period. Even with the fact that SNK left King of Fighters 15 with broken matchmaking for over a year, the fact that there wasn't that much content to really sink your teeth into the game far past just the arcade mode, this series has lasted even with the many other obstacles that SNK and others have run into. You all know what I'm talking about. Bankruptcies and everything else. That time where 2D fighting games were not that popular, and yet King of Fighters is still here. I'm just saying, like, even with some of the drawbacks of King of Fighters 15 and some other King of Fighters games, it's still around. I don't look at the series as a failure. Like, the last couple of KOF games could have been better. The last two, I would put that, but not a failure.
Because there's a difference between could have been better and bad.
Yeah, and I even said it, like, because this goes back to, like, it was a point that Creepy made in episode 0 of the podcast. Because he was thinking, like, the game had failed, and I'm like, King of Fighters 15, even at EVO, still had enough players in the pool to still be on the big stage.
Right.
Because it easily could have just been, like, it could have gotten dropped. It's happened before where it's like, here today, this year,
gone tomorrow. And
it's dropped to the community, the side tournaments, as they call them. They call them community events.
I mean, because there are games with bigger player bases that have also been dropped. Yeah. Or games with smaller player bases that have made it to the big stage.
And TBF, to be fair, KOF 15 is not done with content right now. I know it seems a little bit far, but we still got 2 characters coming. We got Vice and Mature coming in December. Now, I'm not hyped for these 2 characters all that much, but I mean, I'm just saying, the game clearly still has life in it. And I'm glad at the fact that SNK is still keeping it up. As much as I say that City of the Wolves is a more ambitious game, and the fact that it really seems like SNK is actually trying to make a killer product with it, I'm glad that there is going to be at least another SNK game walking side by side with it.
Right.
And not to mention we have, like, the SWC, so there's that.
You know what I need to play?
What you need to play?
I was hyped for the game and never bought it. God of Rock. That rhythm-based fighting game. Right. Where it was basically Guitar Hero, but a fighting game.
It would appear that I'm about to have a freaking indie fighting game section on this podcast now.
It was an interesting concept.
I'm just saying because, like, when I have Vault on here, I just so happen to think about the other indie fighting game I'm going to cover, and I played the trailer for him. And this was, like, the last, like, little segment.
Was it Diesel Legend?
No, it was Frostfire.
I've heard of it.
I actually have access to the beta because I did give some money to the Patreon there, and I don't want to say too much because I want to save for the video, but it's pretty interesting thus far. I mean, even Vault liked what he saw because his whole thing is like, you got modern controls, he'll give it a try.
Because that's why I'm so, I ain't gonna say disappointed, but I was sad that Omen of Sorrow didn't become something because I didn't enjoy the game.
That brings up a really interesting topic here, and I can't believe that I never ever delved into this, giving my interest. there is a severe lack of the spooky stuff, the horror stuff when it comes to fighting games, man.
What was the new? There was
Like,
a new
'cause
one they were talking
Everybody
about.
usually talks, they point the finger talking about freaking Mortal Kombat, and it's like, yeah, but
Mortal Kombat is mostly just gore and
Yeah.
not horror. Because what was the newer one? I can't remember what it's called. There was a newer one that they were talking about.
because the only ones I know about, like Omen of Sorrow happened.
No, there's one that's coming out. That's
Umbral.
like yet to be released.
Umbral Core is out.
Yes, Umbral Core. You say that's out?
No, it's at a standstill right now.
Okay.
There is a demo out there, I know, because I downloaded it.
Okay. That's what I was thinking about, Umbral Core.
But yeah, there's a severe lack of like spooky fighting games. Like, what's up with that?
We could do it.
And it's like on top of that, it's like you ain't got to go that far. Like, big props to the indie games, like the indie fighter devs for holding it down. But it's like, in addition to them, Darkstalkers. Like,
I was about to say, all they need to do is just make a new Darkstalkers.
like what's up? What's up?
That's all they need to do. Because I would love to see how they take some of those goofy, like, because it was horror, but it was also goofy. Because what was, not Dimitri, but Jetta.
Yeah.
I think it was his, like, level 3 super, or his big super, where he literally just turns into blood, grabs you, and then, like, signs a contract with your blood. Or something like that. He signs a contract with you.
Right. I don't want to hear this mess about freaking, it ain't going to freaking fly today. No.
What was the one character?
Long as you don't, man. My whole thing with that is, long as you know you ain't making no freaking fuck shit, you good.
Right.
In other words, like, long as you know you ain't doing something you're not supposed to be doing, then cool.
What was the one character?
But it's
she
like-
was like she was like a B.
QB.
Okay, on the nose.
Yeah.
But from the little bit I have played of Darkstalkers, that was my favorite character, QB. Just for how she played and the aesthetic of she had moves where it's like, oh, she literally dies and gives birth to a copy. I think that was one of her supers, actually. No, it was a grab.
I mean, I know, like, the mess might be a little OTT to some people, but it's like, I'm just saying, like, we got a lack of the spooky stuff over here right now. Like, if it ain't gonna be you, Capcom, it's gonna be the indie dev.
Because usually there's always just, here's the spooky character
Yeah.
in a regular fighting game.
Which is so crazy because it's like, that reminded me of, Onyx and I were talking, like, before Aki had, before they even had put the teaser trailer out for Aki. Because Onyx and I saw it eye to eye. I wanted a character that, like, is disturbing.
Right.
I wanted somebody who is, like, freaking, like, creepy, spooky. I wanted somebody like that.
Because with her...
And Aki delivered. Because the thing that always got to me was people were talking about, oh, what about Jury? I'm like, Jury is just cuckoo. That's all it is. Jury ain't...
She just on a Mean Girl street. That's it.
She just cuckoo.
Because with Aki, which is interesting because she is an unsettling character, but in a horror game, I feel like she would be the most tame character.
Oh, God. Now we gonna see Aki as a guest character tomorrow.
Right. But I do like Aki because she has, like, one, the unsettlingness, and she just does weird shit. That to some people it might be funny, and to other people it's like unsettling. Like her, it's the one stance she goes into where she's just like slithering on the ground.
That
like,
is so good, man.
But yeah, she is genuinely an unsettling character, and I like her critical art where she's like hitting your pressure points, and then like the poison kicks in, and like it's a really good super.
It's like that character is freaking phenomenal, but you got people that just didn't like it because you couldn't fap to it.
Anyway,
exactly. That's like exactly. Ain't nothing else to talk about in that case.
But in the case of Omen of Sorrow, what was one of your favorite characters? Radaganda.
Talessa.
I think.
Talessa.
Oh, Talessa?
Yeah, I like some Radaganda too.
Talessa was the main boss, right? Yeah. Because she had a lot of, like, Hilda-isms.
Yeah, like, very much Hilda.
Very, like her crouching is her, like, sitting in, like, an ethereal chair. And she was a very interesting character. My favorite character was...
Arctorius.
Yes, Arctorius. Because, for frame of reference, for those of you that have never heard of that game, think of a ghostly knight where his head is flames. And it's not in a Ghost Rider aesthetic, but think of an empty suit of armor, and there is fire coming out of the top of the helmet, and then there's just a crown floating in the fire.
Crossroads.
Because he was an interesting character. He's a very interesting character. Because it was him. You had
Radaganda was cool too.
Right, because she was like the I ain't gonna say more. Well, would you say Morrigan of the roster? She didn't have any projectiles or anything, but she was like the air combo character.
Yeah, like had the whole fly gimmick.
Yeah, she was the Morrigan / Eno / you know.
Don't you just love how in the middle of like the freaking like this is even before I freaking like had the audience that I had, man. We were there trying to finish up all those freaking sessions for the rest of the characters. Because we only usually did one a session.
Right.
But we wanted to finish it off.
Because we spent
right there in the middle of us about to complete the mess, freaking Ursabet drops.
Right. Oh my god. So, for frame of reference, because I don't think any other fighting game has done anything similar to what she does. So, for frame of reference, Ursabet is basically almost like a blood mage to a degree.
Yeah.
And her moves, a lot of her specials involve her summoning parts of a dragon that is made out of blood.
Yep. And
her super is basically she will freeze time, and she's like, die. And the screen is paused, and you can put any input in while you're doing that. And when the time freeze stops, all the inputs you put in would end up basically coming out as the corresponding attacks for the dragon that she summons.
Big old blood dragon. And it's just so because they even like reveal like the next character, but like it just
they never dropped it.
It just stopped right there.
Because what was I can't remember what the character's name was.
That's a good question.
No,
I have a
you know it.
What?
It was similar to Geras' name from Mortal Kombat. It was really? Similar to Geras.
Really?
Yes. It was something that sounded like Geras.
It sounded like Geras. Oh my god! But like, shoot, I was really rooting for that freaking game, man. But I know like something hit the studio really badly and all that. And even like with that small roster, it actually wasn't that bad, and like it even had a pretty good soundtrack too.
Yeah, it did. It did.
But it's just crazy.
Because what was the main mechanic? Like the whole blessed and doomed
Yeah, there was a whole kind of tug of war or whatnot.
Kind of like Under Night, a little bit. Just a tad bit.
A little bit, except you weren't screwed like that badly if you were doomed. Because Doom might as well
lock you out of your specials, right? I want to say it locked you out of your specials.
I know you couldn't. I don't think you could use meter either.
Right, because like if you blast and I think you got like a damage buff and different types of combo conversions and stuff like that.
Website's still up in its glory.
Because they're still trying to manage the game as far as I last checked. But they haven't added anything new. You know who my favorite character was? Not like from playing, but just as a concept.
Who?
What was Caleb?
Yeah.
Because for the people that don't know, once again, imagine a werewolf, but also venom with laser beams. Because one of his big super actually, he would have like the black tendrils come out and like hold his opponent in place, and then he would just shoot a laser beam out of his mouth, and it's like that's a real cool combination of things. It's like werewolf, symbiote, laser beams.
Wolves and laser beams, and so if you missed freaking John Talbane, then there was a little something there for you.
Exactly. Or Saberwolf.
And the messed up part is I kind of opened up this, and I didn't want to talk about it earlier, but I asked about the spooky stuff in the fighting game, so I guess I might as well do it. But there is an indie game out there that is kind of holding it up, honestly. And it's actually out there right now. You could actually buy this right now. And despite the fact you could actually buy it, I'm still gonna cover it in my indie series or whatnot. It's called Monstroscopy.
Monstroscopy?
Yes, Mostrocopy.
Huh.
And it actually takes up as it puts it, it takes up the aesthetics of the horror and luchador films of Mexican cinema.
Oh, wow.
You can actually buy this right now. It's at $20. And I remember it was on sale. I know it was on sale during freaking Evo week, and I hated the fact that goddamn freaking Tekken mowed me down. And as I'm looking at the Steam page right now, on Sunday, August 11th of this month, they said they are working on new content, so best believe, dude, check that out. Like I said, I am going to cover that game come Spooktober, which is not that far off now I think about it, so...
Yeah, it's like a month away, or just over a month away.
But I will say this, one thing I do like about it, though, like, it's not even just spooky, but it's also really trippy, too. But I'm just, like, I just thought about that, like, once you went there, it's like, are we just going to let Mortal Kombat just be the sole one holding down, like, and like you even just mentioned, it's just, like, the gore and everything and all that. Like, where's all the spooky stuff with, like, the fighting games, you know? It's like, where all the spooky stuff? Like, what's up?
Exactly. Because, like, I am a fan. Because there's two movies that I need to go see in regards to the spooky stuff. I was talking to Lotus about it earlier. Quiet Place Day 1 and Alien Romulus, which is apparently supposed to take place between Alien 1 and Alien 2, which is titled Aliens.
Alien fighting games.
I mean, MKX. But I don't know. I do genuinely like horror. That's why me and my buddy Quan, we've been going back and forth with, like, we need to subscribe to Shudder.
Yeah, I have the app.
Yeah, like I need to subscribe to Shudder.
That mess has been collecting freaking digital dust.
Because there's a new one, a new movie with Nicolas Cage called Arcadia, or The Arcadian, which for some reason people rag on him for, like, some of his, like, not recent, but like Ghost Rider and stuff like that. But his, like, I'll say from like 2015 on, he's been doing, like, these indie horror movies, and they've been really good. They've been, like, really good, because he was in a movie interpretation of Color Out of Space, which is a H.P. Lovecraft novel. That was really good. He's done a lot of stuff. He's done a lot of, like, indie horror movies recently, and they've been really good.
Something about that sounds kind of cool.
Color Out of Space.
No, Lovecraftian fighting game or something.
Lovecraftian. Oh my god.
That might be, somebody might think that's a little too distinguished and all that. But speaking of, you mentioned, like, Nicolas Cage got projects, huh?
Yes. Speaking
of projects, though, what's the project that you told me that you got something going on, don't you?
Yes. So I am finally doing what I have been saying I was going to do, but not acting on for years now. I am starting my own YouTube channel. It will be entitled The Cheshire Cat, with a K, that is. But me being an artist, a lot of the topics on that channel will be going over the aesthetics of video games and media as a whole, you know. And one thing I had been considering talking about as one of my beginner video segments is the aesthetics and the symbolism behind characters in fighting games specifically that have almost like a stock type mechanic, like your Dormammu's from MVC, where he has the two moves, the power of the creator and the power of the destructor, and you can stack those in a certain order, and it'll come out with a new special move, or Nine the Phantom from Blaze Blue, things of that nature, or just my general thoughts on aesthetics of characters, and the inspirations and what went into designing those characters. So for the most part, my channel will be an art-focused channel that focuses on the art and the aesthetics of video games and anime and, you know, just general media, animated media, usually.
That's pretty much that in a nutshell.
For the most part.
Alrighty then. So, let's believe y'all check that out right there. Because, of course, obviously, if you go back, like, if you can go back and find where and when we did those freaking Omen of Sorrow videos,
literally type in Omen of Sorrow on YouTube, and it will be like probably the first 5 videos.
I actually even saw that some people that were in like the Discord of that actually shared our video.
Oh wow!
Which is so crazy. Like it happened again, because that same thing happened when I had made a video going down all the Blaze and Strike characters. Which, by the way, that's coming out pretty soon as well. October. I'm trying to think, like, so got Terry next month. Blaze and Strike is gonna be out there in October. Like, yo, the fall is looking pretty hot for fighting games, honestly. Probably shouldn't say that. Climate change. Why'd I do that? Oh, why'd I do that? But yeah, there you go. Like I said, links will be in the description there, so y'all can check out Smiles' channel. But the reason why I brought up the, you know, you go back and look and see when we were doing those, you'll know how long he's been holding me down on this channel as well. Like I said, shout outs to him. Shout outs to Internet Rain for sharing your talents with me. Appreciate you, your wife, who even outside of the channel, the both of them are just so awesome to me.
Right.
Once again, happy 30th to KOF, man. And I wish many more for it. I mean, hey, it's not gone now.
Right.
I have never called KOF 15 a freaking dead game. You know what I'm saying?
If people still playing it, it ain't dead.
I've even talked to him about this. I don't consider something dead just because it has a sharp decline. Sharp decline doesn't equal dead. You can still keep on trucking with what you got.
Still got a pulse.
Still got a pulse. Because I know a lot of y'all were really looking forward to Vice and Mature. So now you're going to get them. I don't know if it's going to be anything past that, because they just had a few more characters. But regardless, happy 30th to King of Fighters. Whew. 30 years.
And in reference to the earlier plug, it will be probably within 2 weeks that I'll post my first official video, because if you try to look up Cheshire Cat right now, you just see a bunch of recordings of Smite matches and Guilty Gear matches from me and Lotus and some other people we play online. But my first official edited video will be next Saturday. Not this upcoming Saturday, but the following Saturday.
Mark your calendars!
And now that I'm thinking about it, that first video will be on the aesthetics and the design of Dormammu. Specifically, the MVC 3 version of Dormammu, and what went into his design and what type of callbacks from the comic books went into his moveset in Marvel.
That is awesome. But yeah, once again, happy 30th to King of Fighters. I cannot wait to see what more the future holds for that game. Garo, City of the Wolves, which in essence, same thing. Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves, Garo, City of the Wolves, whatnot. All the good stuff then. Thank you for having me, Mr. Smiles. Made you sound like somebody different. That made you sound like somebody different.
Mr.
Called
Smiles.
you Mr. Smiles.
I mean,
we use like
it works.
The Cheshire Cat then, but it's like he just chopped off like the cat part. It's like, who's Mr. Smiles? Like I said, go check out, of course, like sub to Cheshire Cat Smiles so you can be there once he drops his first video. Whew. Being on the road with this mess, I wonder if I could ever do this again. Like,
you're welcome to.
Take the Chrizalid Chronicles on the road.
You're welcome. You're welcome to
But
stop
yeah,
by anytime.
absolutely appreciate that. And until, of course, next time, I will catch you all later. You all take care of yourselves. Be safe out there. Be cool to each other. Please, 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 please stay cool by staying hydrated out there in the heat. Whether you're walking in the heat, whether you got to work in the heat, please stay hydrated. Y'all take care. See ya.